Lanson here. A trick that I'm going to show you in today's video. Here's the manual for this lawnmower. This is the operating manual, and it talks about the parts and how to do things and maintenance. In changing the belt drive, out of all these pages, it will not tell you how to undo the bolt that is necessary to drop the electronic clutch in order to change the belt drive. I'm going to show you how to do that in this video.
So, I told Mama we're going to a fabulous party, but really, it's time to put her away. I can't take it anymore.
Yes, Fifi, here we go. Here we go. We're going to enjoy ourselves.
Okay, I'm going to put you right here for 1 second. I just got to grab something out of the trunk, okay? You just stand right there.
Okay.
All right.
So much fun. I just love parties.
I've got a Troy-Bilt Mustang RZT lawnmower tractor here. I bought it in 2008. It's been really dependable. I've had no problems with it. An occasional belt might flip off because a piece of bark or something got in the way between the belt and the pulley and flipped it off. And those are other issues of how to get those belts back on the track if you don't have to pull them off the tractor. There's two main belts on here. There's your belt drive, which we're going to replace here today. And then there's the deck belt, which pulls all three blades. And then that belt is eventually connected to the main pulley that the belt drive is pulling from the motor. Now, in order to do this, the reason I'm doing this is because I looked on YouTube trying to figure out how to quickly and conveniently change the belt on the drive part of this tractor. And the only videos out there incorrectly tells you how to do it with this particular model. There's a lot of model numbers, so you have to be precise. The closest video that you get on YouTube trying to tell you how to do this belt is a Sears. And it's just not the way. You're never going to get it done. I'll show you the remarkable way, and it doesn't make any sense to me at all, but I will show you how easy it is to get that belt off of this tractor. First, my suggestion, pour yourself a beer. And that's so, before you start the work on this thing, what you want to do is get loaded enough to drive over your wife's rose garden or her nice flower garden and get her so pissed off that she won't talk to you for a couple hours, and then she's not here bothering you. Or if you got a nagging boyfriend, the fact that you ran over his nice rose garden, that'll piss him off too. So then you have all the time to yourself. So be sure to drink one of these before you even start the project. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to elevate the back end of this tractor so that you can get under it to get to the lower bolt under the motor and just beneath the electronic clutch so that you can get the electric clutch to drop down in order to get the belt to drop off the motor. There's a whole story behind this, but I'll show you close up as we get going. But the first thing you want to do is elevate it. So you take regular car ramps, shove them underneath secure, like that. Don't forget your beer. Yeah, whatever you do, don't forget the beer. Remember to drive over the wife's rose garden first. Be sure to put your brake on, otherwise you're going to be under it, and then it's going to roll down the street and over your neighbor's rose garden. So first things first, put the brake back on always and elevate the tractor in the air so you can get to the bottom of it. Now where's the wife's rose garden? Oh yeah, that one. We'll get her pissed off. Don't worry about it. I'll get her so pissed I won't see her for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. Okay, what Sears tells you to do on the videos, or the recordings I call them, to get the belt off, is they're telling you to take this plate off, and then there's another gasket sealer underneath that, and they want you to take that off to get to the bolt that apparently connects the entire engine right down to the clutch bolt. But that's not true. But for those of you that are interested, I'll show you how to take these off so you can get to the upper bolt, but then I'll show you the real way to get the bolt off down at the clutch so that you can change this belt. And there's only one way you can do it, and only one way only. And I'll just show it, but you're not going to believe it. Okay, here's the top of the engine, and there's the plate that we're going to be taking off, and then the undercover underneath to show you at least how to get to the upper bolt if you ever need to get to it, and the easy way to get to that part. Has nothing to do with what we're doing today, but I'm going to show you anyway. I have a lot of tools that I can use to do this job, but for now, just a screwdriver and this thing. I use this as a spring puller. It's a spark plug puller. I use it for a whole lot of things, but in this case today, I'll use it to pop this baby up. But first, you get a screwdriver in there, and you pop this thing open. It's fairly tight, but it does come off. And like I said, now we're down to this second layer here. And what you do is just get in there and you grab a hold of it wherever you can get a hold of it. And grab a hold of it, pop it up. Now that's now that exposes you to the bolt, which I'll show you right here. Now in one of these videos, they're asking 2 people to do the job. They want somebody to be here holding this nut from turning while you're underneath down here holding that nut. Now this is underneath the pulley down below, and just right there is your electronic clutch that's sitting on the top. But they want you to be turning that bolt while somebody's holding the top. And right there is your main belt drive. I don't know if you can see it, but there it is. See, that's the main belt that we'll be replacing. Another thing you might want to do is lay down a blanket, and I'll show you that in a second. And the reason why is obviously to protect the elbows and the back, because you're going to have to get under this thing, and that's why we elevated it. Wow. Here's the belt. This is your drive belt. This is not your deck belt that runs your 3 blades. This runs from the engine to the pulleys that run those 3 blades that continue to do that. So yeah, what you need to do is get a blanket. So So yeah, you just throw that baby down there. Real nice and neat. So that you can get under there with this thing. And see, like I said, once this is elevated, you can get under there fairly easy. And this is looking at the pulley and the bolt that you need to get off to change that belt, the drive belt. This is looking at it underneath, but looking towards the front of the tractor lawnmower. Alright, here's the nut right here that we've got to loosen up in order to drop this. This is the clutch, the electric clutch. Now, to start this, what you need to do is go back over here and undo this clip that connects the electric clutch to the power system, to the battery. That's number one. You got to undo that. And then you have to be very careful with this when you do drop this pulley by reducing this nut, because this is over 300 bucks, this part right here, and they're sort of delicate, so you don't want to drop it. But this is the nut that you got to get off. And it does turn left to unloosen and right to tighten it back up once you get the pulley back on. You can see here's the belt. This is the drive belt right here. I'm sorry. This is the deck belt. This is the belt that runs the blades. The drive belt is this one right here. Yeah, I can't see it. There's the drive belt. And it hooks to an upper pulley right there, as you see. Okay, that's your drive belt. And in order to get that drive belt, this is that metal bar that is acting like a stop for the electric clutch. This bar here is not only bolted to the frame, but it's tap welded on both sides of it. It's sort of hard to see in here, but there's a bolt and there's the tap weld, and here's the bolt and there's the tap weld. And with this stop here, this makes it where you can't get the belt to drop down and around this big pulley. So this is why you've got to take this nut off, and it won't work like the Sears video shows you, where somebody's standing on the top holding that other bolt while the other one's down here doing this. It won't work. No matter how hard you try, it's not going to do it. It will only work the way I'm showing you. But again, while we're down here, be sure to unplug the clutch from the battery, and then turn the bolt to the left to untighten once you're ready to go. Also, while we're down here, when you do have the belt back on, in order to take it on or off easily, this is your spring that's connected to the big pulley that's holding the drive belt. If you take this spring off where it's attached right here, that allows this to release the tension and pull the pulley back in to where you can get a new belt around it once you've dropped this pulley and the electric clutch. Once you get that reconnected, then pull your string, easier said than done, but pull the string back and reconnect it back. That'll put tension back on the big pulley that the drive belt is connected to. and that's how you do it. Also, where the blades are, the belt, there's a tension spring there that works exactly the same as this one up there. You have to pull that and release it to release the tension to release the pulley so that you can get the belt on the deck when it's time to do that. Okay, now here's the part that's not going to make any sense to the typical residential amateur that tries to work on these tractors. And it makes sense to me, but in another way it really doesn't. You know, when you think of all the mechanical wonders that we do, the reason that you've got to take the bolts off is Troy-Bilt welded a little drop bar that helps connect the electronic clutch when it goes backwards and forwards so it doesn't just spin down there. But that thing is not only bolted to the frame, but it's welded to the frame, so you can't move it. The only option would be to raise the entire motor in the air so you can get to the belt. The only other option is to get that nut, that bolt underneath, off. And this is the crazy way to do it. First, on the left side here, I'm using this one. You take off the spark plug, and I'll tell you why. But you remove the cover, and then you just get your ratchet, and you take that baby off as quick as you can. Okay, spark plug out. Now you have the little hole in there, and I'll get close to that to show you what I'm going to do. Before I do that, I'll explain. You're going to be sticking a cotton rope inside that little hole, and it doesn't have to go in very far. If I had the big red X with the beeper, don't use nylon rope because this stuff shreds and it could leave plastic inside your engine. You don't want that, so that's out. This cotton rope, it's too soft and too 5-year at the end, so you don't want that. But what I find works is this cotton rope right here. And so what you do is you just cut a piece of this rope off so you can work with it. Just like that. Maybe wet it. Pinch it together. Okay, as you see, the spark plug hole is open. And here's the rope. Like I said, make sure you wet it so there's no fiber. Now what you do is you stick it right in that hole. See it go in? Look at that. It's now inside the engine. Okay, now with that inside the engine, what it does is the engine can no longer turn in there. It's like a rotating type engine, and with this thing projectile in there, it can no longer turn inside this engine. So now you can get this baby and go underneath and twist that nut. It will lock up on this rope, and I guarantee you it won't turn. It will let you get the nut off. And that's how to do it. Now, I'm going to put this back together, and to save time so that you're not watching the whole belt and me putting on the pulleys and all that, I'm just going to go ahead and switch that belt, get the nut off and switch it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we're tightening it back up now. And we'll put the plug boot back in. Okay, rope done, tool done. I've already got the belt connected. The bolt came off. The electric clutch fell down exactly like it was supposed to do. Now, in case you need to know, this is a Collier Courage 22 engine. It's the V-twin. It's 725 cc, in case you need to know what the engine is that's stacked up on top of this Troy-Bilt 52-inch lawnmower. It's called the Mustang. And like I said, it's been a real good lawnmower. I haven't had any problem, and I mow 4 acres here every 7 days. And so I've really used it a lot. It's a little expensive for a residential setup, but it's really worth it on the long run. You know, over the many years, if you're going to stay where you are for a while. All right, so let's put the caps back on and see what we got going. All right, first got to put this back on. Now that you know we didn't need to take it off. On. Let's put the coir cap back on. Alright, she's back on. We should be ready to drive this thing off right now. Belt's all replaced. We're ready to go. Now, I know you didn't actually see me change the belt, but it takes a lot of time because you got to get it up there and you got to fight with the pulleys, but you can do it. And I guarantee you, if you do it the way I showed you on this particular model, you will get that clutch bolt off of that tractor. I guarantee it. This is Scott Lanson. Join me in other videos I've got on some of the home projects that I have, and check me out on Facebook at Scott Lanson at Facebook.